And you guys all thought John Cena couldn't act. Here, he proves you wrong. Granted, the marketing for all of his projects comes off very unprofessional. I mean, look at this poster. I mean, there is just a big, gigantic gap right there in the center. Like, you would think that the main character would be standing right there, wouldn't he? He might just be after all. Peacemaker is the newest creation from the one and only James Gunn, and it's the direct follow-up to his film The Suicide Squad, which came out about a year ago at this point. It's exclusive to HBO Max, all 8 episodes are there for the taking, and it of course stars the man himself, John Cena, reprising his role as Christopher Smith / Peacemaker from that film, as the raunchier bag version of Steve Rogers. I believe that's how I described him. I could be very wrong, but Peacemaker in this series is joining up with Project Butterfly, a Black Ops squad that targets parasitic butterfly-like aliens. All the while, the series examines why he is the way he is, his definition of peace and why he kills people for peace, and it also explores the strained relationship with his horrible excuse of a father played by Robert Patrick, otherwise known as the Marine reunion we never knew we needed. 16 years in the making. And not to worry, just in case you haven't completely caught yourself up with Peacemaker, never fear, this review will be completely spoiler-free, so you guys are all safe with me. But let's face it, the news just circulated around social media that this show was just renewed for a second season, and that should really tell you all you need to know about this show's quality. Peacemaker is far and away the best new piece of entertainment I've indulged so far in this short year. I've said it before, and I'll say it probably 1,000 more times anytime he has a new project out. James Gunn has done it again. Peacemaker is a creation which is very brutal, much like the Suicide Squad was a year ago. Very vulgar as well in that vein. So this is just a heads up to the kids who may have grown up as huge hardcore John Cena fans back in the day when he was WWE champ. You may find yourself a little scarred with him dropping F-bombs all over the place. And it's a James Gunn project, so you know you're gonna get amazing camera work, fantastic editing, fun action, and you know you're gonna get a rocking soundtrack with an earworm of a title song. With not to mention the most fun opening title sequence since Deadpool 1. You know what I'm talking about. You've all seen this thing trending on social media with John Cena swinging his hips around in like the most stoic Broadway dance number of all time. And I'll admit it took a while for it to grow on me, but it's freaking great. Now going back to John Cena, I feel like he's had to prove a lot of people wrong, especially since he stopped being a full-time WWE performer. His acting skills, hit or miss for some people. Fast 9 really was not that great of a film. He was, for me, the most entertaining part of that film. That might just be a little bit of bias for me. And I really feel like his first stint as Peacemaker last year in Suicide Squad really proved a lot of people wrong. And if that wasn't enough proof that this guy is up for a challenge, this show is it. He is absolutely hysterical in this show. He does bring out a lot of allegations concerning other DC comic book heroes, which are just so out there. And it leads to some pretty incredible cameos, which I dare not spoil on camera. But you can criticize his acting all you want. The one thing that you can never take away from John Cena is his passion and his desire to make his projects work. And damn it, he does that. And that's always, obviously, it's something that I still admire about John Cena to this very day. It's his passion for his craft. Whether it be pro wrestling, this show, and yes, Fast 9, as much as I don't like that film, he puts the effort in, and he's really freaking great in this. Now, speaking of great, you guys all know that James Gunn seems to enjoy putting the spotlight on the anthropomorphic creatures like Groot, Rocket, King Shark, and so on. Here we get Eagly, Chris's pet bald eagle. And yes, that name is as Happy Madison obvious as you can get, but there are just so many amazing sequences involving Eagly in this. Not only adorable, there's an infamous spot which I'm sure some of you are aware. There's a character that thinks she sees something, but doesn't believe it until the very end. And it's freaking adorable. I can't help myself but say that. It's freaking adorable. But when Peacemaker needs help from Eagly to get a certain job done, let's just say that Eagly is up for the task. It is just brutal, some of the stuff he goes through. Now, it's not just Peacemaker and his pet that carry this show. Obviously, this is named after Peacemaker, but this supporting cast, Oh my goodness, it's one of my favorite supporting casts in a long time. Danielle Brooks from Orange is the New Black fame portrays the daughter of Amanda Waller, who of course was played by Viola Davis in both Suicide Squad films. And her character's relationship with Christopher Smith was super interesting to explore, because on a political level, these two would not get along. But despite those differences, the way these two coexist together, Smith and Adebayo, it's inspiring. And the series is smart enough to not ignore their differences, and the way they team up to get to their goals and overcome the obstacles they have to share together, it's really, like, I can't help but keep using this word, it's really inspiring. The friendships can range from inspiring to super endearing and funny in this series. Let's talk about Freddie Stroma as Vigilante while we're on that topic. Freaking nailed it. Please give Freddie Stroma more work after this, because the dude freaking deserves it. He's a sociopath, sure, but he's probably the most lovable character to come out of this. Much like Peacemaker, he has no problem mowing people down. But there's a very endearing way Freddie Stroma plays this role, and you can't help but attach yourself to him. And not to mention, he's fucking hilarious. There's a whole gimmick about him hiding his secret identity all throughout this series. Poorly. Like, instantly people figure out who Vigilante is under the mask, like, right away, and he constantly denies it, and it gets funnier every single time. Even though Vigilante can throw down, he is getting his ass handed to him in here. There's one scene where he's tortured via the Shane McMahon electrocution method, and if you're a fan of pro wrestling like I am, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't say that James Gunn doesn't pay attention to pro wrestling, especially when you have Batista as Drax, John Cena coming in as his main character in this. Like, there's no way he doesn't pay attention to the product. But getting back to this cast, they are just game from the get-go. Jennifer Holland is a stoic badass from start to finish as Harcourt. Chukwudi Iwuji plays Clemson Mern, gets a really fun redemption arc. Steve Agee was surprisingly hilarious in this show. And last but not least, we are introduced to Robert Patrick as Christopher Smith's father, Agee, who also has the alter ego of the White Dragon. And finally, I think I can say that Robert Patrick has turned in his best work since T2. Robert Patrick has probably been waiting years to play a role as cool as the T-1000, especially as he appears in episode 7. The White Dragon looks unbelievable on screen. That whole action sequence that he has in episode 7 fighting his son there, it is just, oh, it's so good. But the reason why Robert Patrick is so good in this series, he just makes it so easy for you to hate this guy. Agee Smith is a racist, homophobic, chauvinistic bigot who you can't help but despise from the moment you meet him. Sure, even though the facade Christopher Smith puts on can be very similar to his dad, personality-wise, these two could not be more opposite. And I think it's a wonderful contrast. Cena and Patrick have great chemistry together. The chemistry between all these actors is apparent. It is clear that they're all having a blast putting this show together. And I gotta tell you, I had a blast right along with them from start to finish. Episodes 1 through 8 were all excellent. Now, my only issue with Peacemaker really is sort of a nitpick at this point, because I really did love this show. I think it's the best piece of entertainment so far to come out in 2022, TV or film. But my nitpick has to do with the finale. Let me just clear the air right now. This is a really good finale. I think everything wraps up in a stellar way, leaving the door open for season 2 without being too blatantly obvious about it. But the writing for this finale, I found surprisingly hefty on exposition. The villainous plan that's revealed here definitely makes sense, but with the way this show wrapped up and certain decisions that are made regarding this whole reveal, I mean, I liked it. I liked how it looked, but I'm sitting here with questions about how this season wrapped up more so than anything else. Because, and again, I'm sorry if this is sounding too vague. I'm really trying to honor the no spoiler rule here. But with the way this show wraps up, it really goes against certain character traits and certain explorations of characters that we go through here. It's almost like with one little character choice in this finale, it's almost like we're right back to square one. I don't know, maybe that's just my nitpicky critic brain peeking out, but don't let that fool you. I loved Peacemaker. I think John Cena is a badass in the role. He's making a really nice career for himself in the acting world. I can't wait to see what else he does. Freddie Stroma is a show stealer. James Gunn really has given us more fun to be injected into our veins. I'm gonna give Peacemaker an A. Speaking of fun being injected into my veins, Give me season 2 as soon as possible. I freaking loved this. Obviously, guys, I can't recommend this show enough. If you guys loved the Suicide Squad from last year, you're probably gonna fall in love with Peacemaker as well. Let me know what you guys thought of it down in the comments section below. Who is your favorite new character that was introduced? Do you think this is John Cena's best acting work he's done so far? Let me also know what your favorite episode of the series was. As you know, I love discussing all brand new things, cinema, television, all things entertainment over here on the regular. So if you guys are new to the channel, do consider smashing that subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can. This channel is closing in on 1,000 subscribers. I'm really hoping that we can hit that number very soon. Don't forget to smash that notification bell right next to it. That way, you guys can always stay in the loop. And don't forget, guys, smash that thumbs up button as hard as you possibly can as well. This is also tremendous help in getting this content out there. And stay tuned for more exciting content hitting this channel very soon. I will be wrapping up my main Harry Potter series with Deathly Hallows Parts 1 and 2. Hopefully I'll have both of those released within these next couple of weeks here. Life on my end is getting quite busy, but I'm very excited to be watching Uncharted this weekend. There's a couple other new releases that I can catch up on in the meantime there. But guys, lots of exciting stuff to look forward to. Let's go ahead and round that number up to 1,000 subscribers as soon as we can. We are so close, guys. Y'all are the best. Thank you all so very much for supporting the channel up to this point. And with all that being said, back talk, commence.